Okay, so here's the deal. I've forgotten everything that I know about marketing. But luckily and very conveniently for me, before I lost my memory of marketing, I was able to create this video and give myself advice on the most effective way that I could relearn marketing if I had to start from scratch. In this video, I'm going to take you through the 4 actions that I would take in order to learn marketing as quickly as possible and get myself back up to where we are today. And why I may have forgotten about digital marketing, I definitely haven't forgot to ask you guys to hit the subscribe button. So, you know what to do. Anyway, let's get into it. So the first thing I'd recommend you to get into is looking at a website. I'd look at creating something like a WordPress website, get a very basic WordPress theme, and also look at some very cheap hosting. And I'd recommend using something like SiteGround if you're a very beginner and looking for a cheap solution, or something like WP Engine if you're looking for something a bit more expensive, but maybe a bit more user-friendly. When it comes to themes, there's a lot of WordPress themes out there that you can go and shop around for. But what I recommend setting up initially is something that one day you can turn into a site that may start making some passive income for you. And what that is called is an affiliate website. And affiliate websites, for people that may have not come across this term before, are where you can write about or review other products and services, and you refer users from your website to there using affiliate links, which pretty much just have unique tracking codes. Then you may get a percentage of what they buy on that person's website. It could be sites like Amazon, which is a popular example. We recently created a theme called Affiliate Fish, which you can find over at affiliate-fish.com. You can set this theme up on a WordPress install within about 5 minutes. It costs $99 or $250 for a lifetime license, but we are actually giving it away for free at the moment if 1, you can't afford it, or 2, you're a university student. So feel free to hit me up if you'd like a free license for that. On to the next. Once you've set up your website and your hosting and your WordPress theme, it's then time to install analytics. And by this, I mean installing the Google Analytics code on your website. So you can start seeing the users on your site and how they're starting to interact with your website. GA4 has now come out, which means I'd recommend you get up to speed with that quite quickly, because that's going to be the only GA tracking property as of July 2023. I'd also recommend you go and set up something called Google Search Console, which will start showing you website and organic data behind the scenes, such as what people are searching for in Google to find your website, as well as any technical issues which they may have identified on your website, which you can go and review. The next thing I would do once I've got my tracking set up is just write any content. Then don't worry too much about anything to do with people finding it or people reading it. Just create a piece of content on a topic which you're interested in. Once you've done that, I recommend creating 10 to 50 pieces of content. You can then start looking in your analytics and Google Search Console. What you'll see is some of your website pages will probably start appearing on page 9 or 10 of Google's for queries which you may or may not have expected them to. What this will allow you to do is start to see how search engines work. So you'll start seeing these queries. You'll start being, okay, I'm on page 9 for this term right now. I know now that this is how many people are typing this in per month. And if I can work out how to get this onto page 1 through optimization tasks, which I'll touch on soon, it all starts clicking into place about how the web works and how you can start getting traffic throughput on your website. So once you have seen those keywords, it's time to then dig into optimization. We've actually got an SEO ebook on our website here, which is about 58 pages of how to optimize B2B websites for SEO. So feel free to go and download that, and you can look to implement everything from technical recommendations that we suggest, on-page recommendations, and authority building, which is something that I won't go too much into in this video, but it's definitely good reading if you're looking to work out how you can get the queries which you've started appearing for the content you're writing from page 9 or 10 to page 1. This is when in your Google Analytics you should start to set up goals, because if you start getting traffic to your website and people start getting in contact with you, you want to know which channel, which source, which medium these people are coming from, and you can start looking for optimized for lead generation further down the line. And I'm going to leave this section here for now, but the fundamental parts of this first stage are just getting a website set up, enabling tracking, and then start writing content, and then working out how that content is being found and making some tweaks using the ebook, and again using that theme if you think it's going to be something which is going to make your life slightly easier. Okay, so step 1 was very much about setting up your own website and starting to look at how search engine marketing works. Step 2 is very much about looking at how you can get into paid media. And chances are you probably don't want to start spending your own money on sending it to your website just yet if you're not making money off the back of it. So what I recommend about getting your head around paid media, which is a very important piece of the digital marketing landscape, is joining a company. And what I'd recommend is joining a small company, whether that's a small agency or a small in-house company. Great thing about small companies is you get much more visibility and control over the actions, and it doesn't take a long time to put it through. If you work at a big company or a conglomerate, then you probably get more experience in office politics, project management, or strategic overview. All three things are highly important, but at this stage, we're looking at acquiring more actionable skills which can be implemented on a day-to-day basis. So in these small companies, whether it's an agency or in-house, there's two ways you can learn primarily. One is from your line management, so they can teach you about Google Ads, Facebook ads, all the different programmatic buzzword display options out there, and then you can start implementing that on these websites. And because the company is quite small, the activities that you'll be doing potentially will have quite a big impact on them, versus if you're in a bigger company, it probably is not going to have a massive impact if you go from making £1 more million a year in a $1 billion company. And the other way I'd recommend is look to a training budget. Go to conferences like the PPC Hero Conference, we sent some of the guys to this year. Look at actually acquiring online training courses, and there's loads on Udemy around media buying which are actually really, really good. When I took my first ones around 8 years ago, I learned the ins and outs of how to run successful paid media campaigns. So it's definitely worth looking at creating opportunities to learn outside of your line management within the company you're in, and bringing new ideas to the table for that small company, because they're going to love you. So you started learning about paid media in step 2 and implementing that, as well as some of the organic strategies that you may have learned in step 1 for that company. The next thing you want to do is start looking to join communities. You can look at joining maybe popular Slack communities of people talking about digital marketing in your industry, or you can look at just joining places like LinkedIn, for example. There's so many great people on LinkedIn talking about digital marketing which you can go and follow. The great thing about these communities are you can learn things you can't learn from Google or courses. You can learn real-world insights, you can ask questions on people's opinions and how they've evolved over time, and you can really uncover nuggets of people's learnings which they spent years and years to acquire. So the earlier you get involved with these communities and look at the different conversations people are having, the more you can then start creating your own mind up about what approach you want to take to marketing, applying your learnings to seeing what else is working in the market, and really coming up with your own spin on what works in the industry and what type of marketer you want to become, maybe if you want to start specializing in certain channels or industries. Amazing. So joining communities I could talk about all day, but I'd say Slack communities or the likes of LinkedIn communities or maybe even Facebook groups are great. My final one, and the bit that I wish I'd started doing earlier, was looking at actually creating content. And ultimately I feel like you don't actually know how much you know until you start trying to teach what you know. Yeah, that's right. Once you start trying to create a linear video or a linear blog post or a linear podcast, you aren't quite aware of all the different elements which are involved. And once you start trying to publish your work out there, you'll really start getting to terms with the bits you know, where the gaps in your knowledge are, and ultimately where you think you can add value to the marketing industry. As well as if you can start creating things like videos. It's a medium that's going to become more and more popular in the marketing fashion. If you can work out what cameras to use, what lenses to use, what microphones to use, what lighting to use,
you can readjust that.
It's only going to start paying dividends further down the line as a wider part of your marketing mix and skill set, which you can then plug in to the other areas. Creating content is definitely something that I think the earlier you start doing, whether that's actually creating and educating people on certain areas of channels, whether it's looking at a strategy bit of content, or whether it's just documenting your journey, I think it's an invaluable part of actually trying to articulate to yourself and the world what it is that you know about marketing, and ultimately helping you get to grips with the bits that you're strong in and not so strong in. So I think that's it, and if I ever do lose my memory, then make sure you show me this video. As a summary, it can be broken down into 4 key elements. First element is about looking at creating your own website, your own tracking, and starting to create content and start to see how those people are finding your website through organic search. I then think you need to get a job in paid media at a small company and look at the impact that you can have through learning both internally and externally on the job. You then look to join communities and start getting opinions, seeing other people's opinions, who do you agree with, who do you think you don't, and ultimately the direction you want to move in. Do you want to start specializing? And then finally start creating content on your angle, on specific bits around marketing or just your journey, and then you can evolve it from there. And as you post it out, I'm sure the communities and everything else you'll get more involved with. I hope you found that useful if you're getting started in marketing. I'd love to hear in the comments if anyone has any approaches that they think they could help learning marketing even quicker or even more thorough. From taking my experience for the last 10 years, these would be the 4 things that I'd go through again to implement to get back to where I am as fast as I possibly could. And if you want to see some of the content I've created off the back of my opinions on marketing over the few years, look at this marketing breakdown of how McDonald's do B2B marketing using LinkedIn ads. I think you could enjoy it.